Hi guys and gals, today we're gonna talk about the shoulder. More specifically, we're gonna talk about the front delt. I already have multiple videos about shoulder exercises. I go through a lot of details. So if you want to learn more about the anatomical and physiological factors beforehand, just watch those videos. I'm gonna put a link here if you're watching from my YouTube channel. So we're not gonna get that much technical and talk about the complicated terms. So without further ado, when we talk about the front delt or the front part of the shoulder muscle, we're talking about the part that comes from here and goes here. So it's attached to 1/3 of your clavicle or the collarbone here and goes all the way to the middle of your upper arm or the humerus. And as you can see, the fiber, it's clear that it helps to bring the arm up or flex the shoulder. There are a lot of mistakes that people make while doing this exercise. The first mistake that people make is they do not bend the elbow. They keep the elbow straight and they just bring the arm up and down, and that can cause injuries in your elbow. So make sure when you're doing the exercise, the elbow is a little bit bent. So that's the first thing. The second thing is people bend the wrist too much. When you bend the wrist too much, you can cause injuries in the wrist. So do not do the exercise like this. Bring it up, keep it straight. Do not flex it as well. Just make sure it's in one line. Not this, not this. Do not drop it. Third thing is people do not grab the bar the right way. Make sure you squeeze it hard. The more you squeeze your hand, the more you're gonna use the muscles in your arm. Now, whether you're training bicep, tricep, or the shoulder, the more you squeeze it, the more you're gonna have mind-muscle connection or focus on the muscle. But if you're training chest or the back, you can go a little bit easier on the hand, but for the shoulder, make sure you squeeze it hard. One way to make sure you're doing this is instead of keeping the thumb forward, bring it back. This way, you need to squeeze it hard, especially if you're in this way. Now, if you're here, it doesn't really matter, but if you're here, you really need to squeeze it, otherwise it's just gonna fall down. So that's one trick to be able to handle that problem. Another mistake that people make is they pronate the hands too much. So this is pronation, this is supination, and this is neutral. When you pronate too much, you can cause a lot of problems in here, especially if you overdo it. So this can cause impingement. This is one of the tests that doctors would usually take from a patient to see if the patient has any shoulder issues like impingement and problems in the rotator cuff. So this is not good. Now whether you come in, out, this is not good. And even this is also not good. So make sure you're either neutral or fully supinated. Now, whether you should be supinated or neutral is based on the weight. Now, if you're going light, you can be neutral, but if you're going a little bit heavy, make sure you're supinated. The reason is when you go heavy, if the hand is in this position, it's gonna be a lot of impact again on the elbow. But when you're supinated, it's not gonna be that much impact on the elbow, although the bicep is a little bit more engaged, but you're not gonna be able to lift that heavy for the front delt as well. So if the bicep cannot handle the weight, your shoulder cannot as well. So because you're not gonna be able to go that heavy, it's gonna be all right. But if you're going light and you do not want to fatigue the bicep, it's all right. You can hold it neutral, but do not go pronated. Another thing again that comes to the wrist positioning is when people go neutral, they drop the wrist. So this is not good. Also, this is not good as well. Straight, whichever position it is. Not this, not this, not this, not this. No abduction, no adduction, no flexion, no extension. Another mistake that people make is they go too internally rotated. So when you do the exercise like this, you can again cause problem because it's too much internally rotated. So try to either bring it forward or a little bit to the side. Do not bring it too much to the side as well. First of all, you're gonna target the side a lot more, and second of all, it's not that safe to keep the hand neutral and go to the side. You can keep it pronated and go to the side, but do not keep it neutral and go to the side, and do not keep it pronated and go forward. So, not in the middle of your body, a little bit out, here, not in, not too much out. So around here to 45 is alright. The more you go out, the more you're gonna target the side delt, and it's gonna be really unsafe from 45-degree out. And another thing that I see people make is they go overboard. So they bring it all the way up. You don't need to do that. Just from here to around 90-degree or a little bit more, it's gonna be alright. And now these are the pretty much the mistakes that people make. Now let's talk about some variations that you can use to target your front delt differently. So we talked about the first one, which was this. Now when it comes to dumbbells, you've got to consider gravity. And in this exercise, when the arm is parallel to the ground, so around here, 90-degree, in this variation, it's going to be the hardest. So this is the hardest. As I go down, it's going to get easier. And although it's not right to go up, but just for educational purposes, if you were to go higher than 90-degree, again, from here it would get easy, and here, no resistance at all. So, a little bit less than 90-degree, you're gonna decrease the resistance, and even a little bit more than 90-degree, you're gonna again decrease the resistance. So, the closer you are to 90-degree, the best resistance you have. The 90-degree is for this variation. Again, we're supposed to be parallel for the best contraction. If you want to target the shoulder in different ways, you can angle yourself on a bench. So in this variation, parallel to the ground, so around here is gonna be here, so I have the most contraction. The more I go up, it's gonna be less. Here it's gonna be the most. So this time I'm targeting the shoulder in this range. And when I lean the other way, from here to here, it's not that much, but here it's gonna be the hardest. But as mentioned, you don't need to come this much up. So this is normally for people who are, I don't know, doing supersets or triceps, or they just want to fatigue the muscle. So you start from here, you use a lot of momentum, you come here, enough. And the other variation is for people who want to train the muscle in the stretch position. So they want to stretch it here and go down. But make sure when you go up, you do not drop it too fast. It's going to go down too much, and too much shoulder extension is bad for the shoulder. And the first variation I gave you is going to be a mixture of both of them. So it's not going to be too much stretch in here. It's not going to be too much focus on the contraction like here as well. So this one, as mentioned, it's toughest here. So when the shoulder is really contracted. But this one is a mixture of both of them. Make sure you do the same thing that I told you about the arm positioning. So if you want to bring it a little bit more out, just, for example, come a little bit here and do the exercise, or the same here. Do the exercise like this. But Again, do not bring it too much back. Do not let it come in too much. Whatever doesn't feel comfortable is probably not a good idea to do.